I'm Theron, Ramacharaka. Here I'm going to talk about two things together because they have something in common, but they're a little risky to talk about because of presuppositions that are widely held by people and prejudices that are widely held by people concerning these two things. So I'm going to ease our way into it. So that brings in a third thing, which will come first, to ease our way into it. Let's see. This is something that I think many people will like to hear. This first thing. Let's say the principle of polarity, or opposites. Let's call it a law of opposites in the cosmos, operating in the cosmos. The Taoists call it yin and yang. Manifests, let's say, one of its primary manifestations we could call a principle of gender. The masculine principle and the feminine principle are its two subdivisions. Its division, yin yang. Positivity, negativity. Positive pole, negative pole. Mentally, these manifested in the mental plane as desire and will. Two poles of mentation. All right. Now, let's apply that to something here. This is still our easing our way into this. I've heard it said many times, especially in the New Age community, that if you want to psychically protect yourself, envision and will for there to be a circle of white light surrounding you. The white light will keep things out. It'll be protective. But I have it on good authority that when it comes to entities that you want to keep out, that white light is very visible to them, like a street light on a dark block. And it indicates that you're a newbie. You don't really know much about psychic protection. And there you are, standing out like a sore thumb. In other words, it doesn't repel, it attracts what you want to repel. But there is a better way. What you really want, I mean, one way to go about this is not a ceremonial or ritual magic formula. There are those too, some quite elaborate. This is a rather simple and direct approach. All right, so what you want here is for your will to be positive in charge, polarity-wise, to that of outside influences. You want your will to trump, let's say, the will of influences that you don't. Or influencers, whatever they are, whoever they are, whatever they are. In other words, you want your will to be stronger. That is, with respect to what you want it to be positive in charge to the outside influences. As simple as that. Okay, so in order to accomplish that, instead of white light, will for and desire a and envision a sphere around you, an emanation of positive will. Now, in the will desire scheme, in the gender scheme, in the opposites thing, will is the positive side of meditation. Desire is the negative. Not meaning good versus bad. We're talking about polarity, like the poles of a battery, positive, negative. Right? But what I'm talking about here is strength when I'm saying will being positive to others. More positive than the others. Okay. In other words, stronger. All right, so you want lots of will surrounding you, and you give it a job to do, you know? Your intention gives it that, right? But the image that you create is that of, instead of white light surrounding you, will surrounding you, which has no color. It's transparent. It's not visible with respect to color. It's clear. You can aid all of this by making it plus signs that are clear, transparent. Plus signs, positivity, the positive plus sign, you know, instead of negative, positive. Millions of them surrounding you. Protectively. Okay, that sounds cool, right? You get that. That was our easing the way into this. What I wanted to establish with that is the opposites, the law of opposites, the principle of polarity inherent to the law of opposites, and its relation to its one of its aspects being the masculine versus the feminine. Will versus desire. Both being necessary. Both being manifestations or instantiations of the law of opposites. Principle of polarity. The entire cosmos operates in accordance with these. There are a few other laws by which it operates as well. Nothing happens outside of these laws. And the law of opposites is one of them, and one of its immediate instantiations is gender. I'm not talking about physical manifestation of it as in males and females. I'm talking about right up there with, the law of opposites thing. An aspect of the law of opposites, and, its inherent principle of polarity is gender, universal gender, universal masculine principle, feminine principle. Now, what if suddenly the cosmos were to change that all around? I mean, there are other laws at work too. Rhythm, cyclicity, balance, analogy or correspondence among planes. Consider that those operations, the interaction of these basic laws, universal laws of operation, can be summed up as conscious substance in motion, consciousness, substance, and vibration or motion. What if one of those suddenly were switched to something else, or removed from the picture, or things would fall apart? Wouldn't be like, everything would be dramatically altered. Cosmos could just give way to total chaos. Right? No? What if that happened to gender? What if masculine and feminine lost their distinction? What if the masculine principle and the feminine principle lost their distinction? Lost their attributes. Exchanged attributes. So that you couldn't tell the one from the other. What if cosmic operations just forgot about that and left it out? What if one could change to the other and then back? What if it all just became chaotic, confused, conflated? I mean, at the universal level, just consider that. Well, then how about the protectiveness of your will being positive to others' will and a desire? What would happen to the protection from influences you don't want? Huh? What about that? I mean, we just kind of like, I think we agreed that, hey, that's pretty cool then. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know? I can understand that. You may have agreed on that. And that's understandable, yeah. Sure, that makes sense. Well, what would happen to that? The function of that? If gender, the very principle of gender, it's two poles, we're suddenly confused, conflated, mixed up, thrown out, indistinguishable, crisscrossing, cross-dressing, or if one completely overrode the other, cross-dressing, transgendering. You see where I'm going with this? Acting in violation of themselves. Acting in violation of the principle for of which they are aspects. Acting in violation of the law of opposites itself. What if one of its more, lower plane manifestations, like the male and female genders of the human species, were to act as though it's fine, no problem, to willingly and desiredly just engage in this confusion and conflation of affairs? Could this be a violation of nature and the way it works? Could it? Could it screw some things up? Could there be pretty dire consequences? Considering correspondences among planes, or the law of analogy at work? Could those consequences occur unknown mentally at the time that they're occurring, behind the scenes, show up later? It's very unpopular, and here's my risk: to talk about transvestitism, transsexuality, transgenderism these days without being called prejudiced, sexually discriminative, politically incorrect, a hater, without being accused of engaging in hate speech. Yeah, well, this isn't those. And what about one human gender, let's say female or male, completely overriding the other in a relationship? I just posted a video about pussy whipping, pointing out that's not a good idea. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing for a woman to do, and it's a tragic thing to have happen to a man. Why is it so? Well, ultimately, because it's a violation of the way nature operates. The feminine side, desire, feminine, negative, whatever, okay? Polarity-wise. And the other pole, positivity, masculinity, generativeness. One overriding the other completely. No, they must work together. Will must temper desire so that the desire does not completely run all over will and direct its every direction. You know? It can get completely out of control and things can go downhill real fast. But desire directs will, points it in certain directions. Okay? But will must have say in the quality and content of desire. So they must work together. Where is will going to push things toward? Without desire. All right? And what is going to control what desires there are without will having control over that. They must work together. Desire pulls. Will pushes. Desire pulls things in and puts them to work creatively. Will pushes toward creatively, generatively. What offspring would there be without the feminine womb? What offspring would there be without the masculine generative push into that womb? That womb which draws the masculine into itself. Well, but they don't crisscross, do they, to do that? The one doesn't become the other, right? They must work together. Is that right? So, what about pussy whipping? That's the feminine overriding the masculine. And the same the other way around. Is there a name for that? Cock whipping? Maybe. These are not good things. Not just socially. Not just psychologically. They are damaging because they violate universal laws of operation. And there are consequences. You step out of line with the way things really are working, when they're working, right? The way the universe is trying to operate. There are always consequences. The consequences actually, in one manner of speaking, at one level of discourse, that is, serve to redirect until those consequences stop happening, because one is then harmonized again with the way things work. So, the pussy whipping thing, cock whipping, whatever, right? And the tranny thing. They have this. They have same common. They're grounded in the same principles here, and law of opposites. I mean, and violating that law, violating those principles, and currently, in many parts of the world, these violations are being pushed as agendas. One of the outcomes of feminism in the West, in America, is violation. One of the outcomes. It was one of the initial intents as well, regardless of what was said, regardless of how it was marketed, regardless of its surface propositions. Just to create a breakdown in family structure by way of a breakdown in male-female relationships. That was one of his purposes. Why would that be a manufactured idea as an agenda, a social agenda? Why? Well, to control people. To gain access to greater control over people. To make people more dependent on the state because they lose dependence on the family structure. To break things apart. So that the state And powers that be have greater access to control over masses of people. And what about the tranny agenda? The kids in some parts of the United States, at least for some while, I don't know how it stands now, but the public school system in many states had adopted the practice of teaching children that they can choose their gender. That their physical sexual organs had nothing to do with gender. You could choose their gender. Didn't matter whether you stood up or sat down to pee. Didn't matter whether your body pushed out sperm or drew it in. Didn't matter. You could choose whether you're male or female. And act accordingly. And believe accordingly. It's a choice. Pro-choice. How about that? Pro-choice. Choice is good, right? Sounds great. Especially to a kid. Anybody who speaks out against trannies these days, I mean, if you don't hire somebody because it's a guy who thinks he's acting like a girl and he talks like that. Hi, I'm a tranny today. How about if I decide that today, you know what, today I'm going to be a black transvestite. I'm going to be a black. I'm going to be black. I'm going to change my birth sign. Right? I'm going to be a virgin again now today, and I'm going to be a woman today. There, done. You know, another one just like that. All right, look. When I do this, I'm going to become invisible. You can't see me now. Can't see me. I'm invisible. Right? Can't see me, right? Okay. I'm back. There. Hi. You didn't know where I went, did you? Oh, it's a great one, man. I can do that. But you know what? While I was invisible, I was a black woman. It's amazing, you know, what you can do when you have a choice. Oh, excuse me. Oh, yeah, there we go. You know what? If your head is full of this nonsense, you need to blow it out your nose or something, man, like I just did with snot. Am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to say any of this? What are you going to make a complaint to YouTube that I'm engaging in hate speech? I thought that happened before we're talking about these things. Or have I made sense because we eased our way into it with something that perhaps you understood and liked? I mean, I talked about a way to manifest this law of opposites thing for your own good, and I think you might have liked that, and even appreciated the information. I didn't go too far away from that and the rest of what I said, did I? Just other considerations along the same line. What do you think? Huh? And thank you, Ramacharaka. Be well. Am I on next? I'm on already? I didn't know I was on now. I'm sorry. I wasn't quite ready. You like my new outfit? Huh? I'm going underground now. I'm Krusty Christie, your favorite satanic Hispanic friend. No panic. And here I am. We're going to do a new number again. And I'm just getting ready now in the dressing room. But I'm all dressed now. And I guess we'll get to it. We'll do a run through, a rehearsal. We'll just bring it down a notch now this time. For this one, we'll bring it down a notch and we'll just kind of go underground a little bit. And we'll just be a little bit calm down and take a big breath with me now before we get started with the rehearsal, okay? Everybody now, oops, I'm showing. Everybody just bring it down, okay? You like to go down? I do. Okay, here we are. And this time, the menu number is called Walk on My Vile Side. Okay, here we go. Let me clear my throat. I have something gurgling in my throat. Okay, you know what it was. But I think it's okay now. Okay, so here we go. Take a walk on my vile side. We'll just kind of talk our way through. Okay, here we go. You have a good time? I'm having a good time. I'm having a blast. Okay, hear the music. Here we go. Oops, I slipped it. Okay, here we go. Ready? Folly comes with vanity every day, and ignorance with bliss, well, that's what they say. Fuck my way across USA. Trans-America, that's what I say. I say, hey, babe, take a walk on the vile side. Said, hey, sweet boy, take a walk on the vile side. Here we go. Candy cane hot cross buns flaming. It's your back door and it's me that you're blaming. But you said yes in your head. And now it's you, boy, that's giving head. I say, hey, boy, take a walk on the vile side. But you say, hey, girl, take a walk on my vile side. And the girly boys go, do, 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 do. You know? Do, 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 do. Okay. Here we go, the next verse, okay? Here we go, here we go. Coming up now. 3, 2, 1. I'm Christy and I just give it away. So nobody has to pay to play. A muscle here and a muscle there. The Castro is the place where I said, hey boys, take a walk on the vile side. I said, hey Bruce, take a walk on the vile side. Good. You having fun, everybody? Having fun? Okay. 3, 2, 1. And salty cum cookie came from under the streets. Looking for Christy or his soul at least. Took 13 Apollo, blew out his head with no Crisco. They said, hey Salty, take a ride on the wild side. I said, hey, Cookie, take a walk on my side. All right. Jackie and his pal zooming away. Thought she was Gleason for one day. Then I guess she lost her gas. Methane would have helped that ass. She said, Christy, take a walk on the wild side. I said, hey, Jackie, take a run from my wild side. And the sissy boys say, do, 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 you know, what do, right? Do, 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 and so on. Everybody calm down. We gotta talk now. So walk on the wild with me, Plastic Christy, your favorite Hispanic satanic. We'll just try here, you know, just bring it down, right? Just rehearsal. Just rehearsal. Maybe with some more. I like to have a pipe in my mouth. I'm sewing again. Bye. I love you. I love